guessing you guys are here because you want to learn a little bit about wood ash. So first things first, you got to start with the fire. I was fortunate enough to come across some pine trees in my local area, and as you see, I kind of went crazy. Just had this bag in my trunk and filled it with this great stuff. If you didn't know, pine needle is a great ignition source for a wood fire, and you want to make sure that you have some sticks and some twigs to build your base. This tip here, I'm going to give you guys something I learned from a local survivalist. They told me just get you a big lighter. You want to pick a bright one just in case you drop it in the wild. Like if you're in a survival circumstance and you drop it, you'll be able to spot it a lot better than if it was just a solid black lighter. You want to get some duct tape of your choice. Gorilla duct tape is really good for this purpose. And you just want to wrap your lighter with a couple layers, 6, 7, 8, however many layers you'd like. And you just wrap it around your lighter just like that, and you'll be able to keep this lighter in your backpack, in your pocket, in your survival kit, and whip it out whenever need be. So how you use it is you just rip some strips off, 1 strip, 2 strips, however big you need your ball to be. You just crumble it up like so, and you'll be able to light this, and it normally keeps alight for about 30-45 seconds. Sometimes you can get it to go for a minute, so you have like a solid minute to start building your fire. In order to accumulate a good amount of wood ash to distribute throughout your garden, you're going to need to have quite a bit of materials and some really good dried out logs to add on top, so that when your fire is done, you have a good amount to work with. It always sucks for me to have a fire and think you have enough wood, and then when your pile is all done in the morning, you're left with like not even a quarter of a bucket of wood ash. So I recommend definitely having a good amount of materials on hand to keep your fire going through the night. So if you're anything like myself, I didn't know how to start a wood fire a couple weeks ago. Just taught myself, pat on the back. So I'm going through these steps with you guys. If any of you are out there are starting a fire for the first time, I hope seeing me do it and with a little bit of my direction, you're able to successfully start and burn your fire. So you want to have 3 different materials: twigs, large stems and branches, and then an ignition source. So the pine needle right now that I'm topping off the pile with is the ignition source. That's going to give me lots of flames and lots of smoke. So once you get a good amount of flame and a good amount of smoke, right now you see me tossing on some small twigs, and you want your wood that you're using to be dried out. If it has any moisture, or if it's live wood, softwood, or hardwood, it will stunt your fire. It'll pretty much just suffocate out the smoke and the flames. So you want to make sure that your materials is dry. So now that you have your smaller twigs, you're going to start building your shape. So the easiest shape that I think is super beginner friendly is the teepee shape, and the name kind of speaks for itself. It's going to be like a cone shaped fire. So you just toss your twigs around, try to get your good teepee shape in. Don't have to be super picky. The pointier the better, because it pushes the smoke center, and really handy to have a good stick to kind of rotate your coals and move your fire around. So now that you have your beginner-friendly TP fire started, let's start talking about why wood ash is like my new favorite thing. First of all, you start off with making and burning down a beautiful fire, and you can enjoy the ambiance of that experience. Secondly, you can use this stuff straight on top of your garden beds. You could incorporate it into a new garden bed that you're establishing. This stuff, wood ash or potash, as I've heard some people call it, is very, very high in potassium. If you didn't know, potassium is a vital nutrient that many of the crops that you're probably interested in growing or are growing in your garden need. Tomatoes that are really heavy feeders, they love potassium. Like, they need potassium. And if you use this stuff in your tomato beds, you will definitely see a change in your crop. One thing to keep in mind is that when using potash, you want to use it while it's white. If you can see the layers in the color of the fire, you have the white on top, and then as you get deeper in to the pile, it gets darker. So you want to use your wood ash when it's rather white and rather fresh. You don't want to leave it out in the elements if it's going to rain. The rain will pretty much just wash out all the nutrients that's in your wood ash and pretty much just deplete the value. So if you're going to use it fresh and let it cool down for about 24 hours after your fire has stopped burning. You don't want to add your wood ash straight on top while it's still holding a lot of that heat, because you can potentially burn the foliage on your plants that you've just invested so much time and love in. So make sure you cool off your wood ash before adding it into your garden. So your acid-loving plants such as blueberries, strawberries, azaleas, potatoes, parsley, just to name a few, they don't like this stuff. So skip out on adding wood ash to those guys and feed it to plants that love potassium, such as tomatoes, garlic, chives, leeks, asparagus, and a good selection of stone fruit. Love wood ash. So I let it cool for like 24 hours, and now it's ready to go straight into my little mini greenhouse garlic bed. I should totally have a mask on right now, but for the purpose of the video, you probably won't be able to hear me too well, but if you guys are gonna add wood ash to your bed, I would suggest throwing on a mask. Now it's okay if wood ash is on the foliage, because once you water it in, it'll take all that off. And you could simply just shake any excess off. Not only can you use it atop your garden beds scattered lightly like so, you can also throw this stuff in your compost, and the wood ash actually holds a lot of trace elements that the microorganisms will thrive off of and just make everything bigger and better than they were without it. Give it a good water and let it do its thing. Throughout my learning experience with wood ash, I've actually kind of come to love it. I spend so much time burning fires now, my husband's actually getting jealous. So I like to call this my love affair with wood ash.